the very basics of IXL and how you might be able to use it in your classroom as a supplement. I'm guessing because we got it last year kind of as we were already moving, you may not even realize that it is a resource that you can use. So there's a lot to it, but I'm going to show you the very basics if you wanted to use it again as a supplement. So I'm going to take this admin off here and I'm going to log in with my pretend teacher account. All right, so from my teacher account, it automatically drops me on this dashboard here and gives me some analytics, which I really don't have any kids in there, so it's a little bit misleading, but this is maybe some work they've done in the other classes. The first thing you'll notice are these three tabs. You've got learning, you've got diagnostic, and you've got analytics, and then I also have this bar down here. I can also search by typing in content at the top. Content that's available is math, language arts, science, and social studies. Math goes pre-K to all the way calculus. Language arts goes from pre-K to 12th grade. Science goes from 2nd grade to 8th grade. And social studies goes from 2nd grade to 8th grade. So looking in there, another thing you can grab is the Texas standards. So if you're wanting to go in to, let's say, science, so go to the Texas Standards 6th grade, then you can see it's highlighted here, Science 6th. So I can go through here and it's going to show me all of the lessons that go with that standard for Texas. So if you want it specifically tied, then you can go through there, and there's some printouts that you can get to help you look. Now, this first little guy in learning is going to show you recommendations. So if I tap on that, once your kids are moving in the system, it automatically is going to be giving them diagnostic on their dashboard. So typically 15 to 30 minutes a week, if they can jump in there and do some of this diagnostic, it will help keep their levels appropriate. It is adaptable, so based on how they answer questions, and it mixes math and language arts in there. So you can see from a teacher perspective that Miss Nunez here has 14 skills, and Ashley Perry has 14 skills, and that she's working on. So she can go through here and grab those and try these questions, and they'll adapt as she becomes proficient. Now, these are more if you're wanting to use your textbook, that you can get into that, but I want to show you more what's just freely flowing out here. So if I click on math, and I am a 7th grade teacher, and this works the same for all, I can see that there are 346 skills. So now I can go in here and I can check out. If I hover, it's going to give me 4 examples of that question. So it gives me just a quick overview of what they might look like. If I want to look at it in more detail, I can tap in. So this is a student view. So notice the student really doesn't have a lot of places they can go. They can look here and they can put their answer, read the question. Now, if they're struggling, they can always tap on Learn with an Example, and it's going to walk them through some coaching points, and then it will send them back to their practice. If they feel like they need to go back and get some help with a content piece that was scaffolded before this, it actually will give them a suggestion of where to go. Now, it will tell them after their session or as they're working how many questions they've answered, how much time, and then the SMART score is a little bit misleading. What they say is between 80 and 90 is proficient, and you'll notice if you tap on that, 100 is like expert mastery level. So I wouldn't really worry about them getting to 100. The coach that I talked to said really 75 to 85 is a great place on the SMART score for them to be. So just so you have an idea for the kiddos. So same view for all of the content. If I go back from a teacher perspective into the 7th grade area, the other thing you'll notice are these stars. So you can just have kids get in here for math and language arts, and they can function and work only in that diagnostic. So the teacher never has to assign any practice. It's just adaptive to how they're answering the questions, and you can monitor. Or if I'm a teacher in science and I know I want to give some specific content to my 7th graders, I can go in here and I can have the students. Now, the difference for math and language arts is in math and language arts, I can click the star and that will automatically drop on the student's dashboard. For science and for social studies, it's a tad different because they don't give the star options. But what you would do is you would tell your student to log in and you would say, we're going to geography, the Americas, and I need you to do lesson C2. So a tad different for science, social studies versus math and language arts, because you can, in math and language arts, star those lessons. Science, you just direct your students to go to those lessons. So you can also look, I've been viewing by grades, but I can view by topics. So in science, I can click into topic specific if I want to go to earth science, and then I can look at the second grade skills versus the third grade skills, and so on and so forth. So you have the view of grades and topic. Now in math and language arts, there are some skill plans, but again, those are tied to a textbook of some sort that I don't think will interest you as much. So that's all in learning. Then you have diagnostic. This is where those kids are getting in there and working on their own on that front dashboard, and I can look at that diagnostic and see how they're doing. So I only have 2 like practice kids I've borrowed, so I'm going to look at Miss Nunez, and I believe she's still working, so she hasn't been working in the diagnostic yet. I can go over here and toggle between these students, and I can see that Miss Perry has done some work here. She needs to continue. It needs her to answer more questions to give her a diagnosis. But in language arts, she has gotten an overall score of 1300, which of course you would know is these are like equivalent to grade levels. So 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade. So she's doing really well. There are some reading. It wants her to keep diagnosing in her reading strategies here, and so on and so forth. So I can hover and see. You can also click on a diagnostic action plan, but the main thing is if you're wanting that diagnostic data, which you may or may not, you don't have to do it. If they can be in there 15 to 30 minutes a week, just functioning on that dashboard, I'm going to go back here to the learning. Let me go to learning real quick. And the recommendations, they want to be hanging out in this area working. That's what gives you the diagnostic data. So 15 to 30 minutes a week keeps that fresh and keeps that data good for you. So that was in the diagnostic, and this is where you'll get your student levels. You can use those reports for parent conferences or special ed meetings, whatnot. The analytics piece right here, this I'm not going to go through a ton, but it automatically drops you on that dashboard that you saw initially, how often, which I don't really have a class, but I will just give you some really quick data. And then you can look at where your kids are in diagnostic, where they're having trouble spots. I can look at my students overall and see how they're doing. I can do a student quick view. And I can see it will give you the drop down of where these students are specifically in this content. So you can look at all subjects, you can drill into grades, and you can change the range. So literally, if you go across this area, you can get any kind of data that you might wish to have. So teacher resources is the last thing. You have all sorts of guides here and resources and webinars that you can use. You have a teacher toolkit here with some printables and different things for getting your kiddos signed in, implementation guides, and professional development. So I'm going to tap because I want to be able to show you too how you get your kiddos in there. So this is your information. If you need to change anything here, you can go in from that top toggle bar and you can change your profile and adjust what content you're seeing here. And then if you need to add students into your classroom, we are going to go to learning. And give me just a moment. Your teacher toolkit. You need to create your classes. Trying to remember where that was at. I went blank all of a sudden. there's a way to add these kiddos to your class. Hold on, I didn't go over awards either. That's a place where you can print out and give awards to kiddos. Ah, sorry, I missed that completely. It was at the top under Welcome, Luana Pulliam, and Roster. So this is where you would add your students for your classes. So for my class, Luana Pulliam 1, when I want to add students, they're already in the system. So I just click Add Students. I can type in the last initial, and then it's going to go through and give me all the students. The more specificity you give to the name, the more it will drill in, but all the 6th, 7th, and 8th grade students are in there. So I'm going to click Save. Now those students are in my class. When they log in, they can be in multiple IXL classes, but they'll be able to go and grab assignments for your class if you assign them in math and language arts, or to be able to go and find them if I am a science or social studies teacher and I want to tell them to go to a specific place. So that's a really quick overview. And again, I want to remind you, because I had forgotten, when I tap this little toggle guy and I click roster, that's where you're going to create your class from. And if I go back there, you can also print sign-in cards here. So you can have a list of the usernames and you can print the cards for the students. It is not, there's no dot in their username. So Melina Nunez. And then it's at Canadian ISD. There's no net. I'll send you the link that they will use to get there. And then their password is their usual password. There is no dot and there is no net at the end. That's just how they access IXL. So let me know. I'm happy to come and do a one-on-one with you, but I sure just want to make sure you knew you had access to this as a supplement for anything that you're teaching. Thanks and have a great day.